you'll have to put the sprocket over here on the side with the brake. Now, I had to use an impact to get this off of here, and a breaker bar slid over the brake to hold it in place, and it comes right off. I probably could have got it off with just a breaker bar or some wrenches, but this is the easiest way. I put it on hand tight because I decided to wax. I decided to go ahead and wax all these spokes before I mounted the sprocket, as it's all still brand new. Now, with this particular wheel that comes on this bike, I can remove this dust cap and actually take this spoke. I put the teeth out on this one, and as you can see, it'll actually fit perfectly around the bearing holder right there, the hub. But there will needs to be some modifications so that the dust cover can go back on there and that the brake assembly can work properly. Besides modifying the dust cover, which will have to be ground down much flatter, it's easy to do, just a patience thing. You will have to take the rubbers that come with this, and one will have to be flattened out and beveled. It's a 4-hour process. Now you see, they just use what appears to be a cutout of a tire, but I will pull this sprocket back off, and I will take it and I will bevel this inner edge right here and flatten this whole thing about a third way down, and it should recess in there enough to allow that sprocket to sit perfectly center back over that hub. As you can see now, it has a gap, but by the time I'm done and torqued down, it'll be riding on the hub perfectly centered like it was made for this bike. Now, I used a bench grinder for this step, and as you can see, I've already started to bevel the inside of one of the rubber donuts, and I'm going to concave it and grind it on down some, and it should be a perfect fit. It was on that one, so hopefully I can duplicate it about the same way. It's a patience thing, and I'll check back in with the final results. Alright, here it is. It's been beveled all the way around on the inside and shaved down to be slightly skinnier on both sides. There we go, that gets it down closer to it. It's still higher than the hub, but remember, this rubber will compress around them spokes a lot, so this should be about perfect to pull it on down so I can put the dust cover and everything back over it, lock that sprocket right around that wheel hub. That baby ain't going nowhere. So you'll actually have to cut the other one in half to get it in there. It'll show this in the instructions, but make sure you don't cut on your holes, and you don't actually cut it directly in half, as there's 9 holes, and to do that you would have to go through one. So you'll cut one with 4 holes and one with 5. You'll see your brackets comes with 1 with 4 holes and 1 with 5. Now this is important. On the other side of the bicycle, when you install it, you want to cross over your cuts. You do not want your cuts to line up with the edge of the brackets. Easy enough. Now you don't really have to grind on this one unless, and I had to grind on mine a little, unless one side is a little fatter than the other. Now, I believe I've got it down all the way. It just kind of had a high spot on 2 ends, so I grinded it down just a little bit so it can go in behind all this. Alright, so this is actually one of the toughest parts. And if I had more hands, I would have liked to have videotaped how I did this, but I had to hold the wheel up and shimmy the metal pieces in there. And as you see, I've got a few bolts holding them on now. But from this point, I just got to get the rest of the bolts on there. Sitting right there, or the rest of the nuts on the bolts. And then, you'll tighten this down slowly and periodically in a star pattern. Start snugging it up, 1, 2, 3, and keep going all the way around, slowly snugging it up and drawing everything tight. Don't actually tighten anything down until you have it all snugged, and then we'll have to repeat that process until the whole wheel is secured and this sprocket sinks down around that hub. So what's great about this kit is they give us a 10mm socket. And as we all know, the 10mm is the first one to jump out of the kit and run away. Or at least according to all the memes I see it is. So, one 10mm on that side. And you could probably use their spanner tool here they've got. Oh, this looks like a pain in the butt right here. Yeah, that looks like a pain to get on them. So I'm just gonna go over to my wrench over to my wrench rack over here and blammo, 10mm. All right, the sprocket is on there. Now, a pro tip: if you have the tools, a drill or driver with the socket in there will save you a lot of time just getting these torqued down enough so you can work with them, as those are all lock nuts on there, so it'll feel like it's tight and you ain't even touching the thing. Now it looks pretty centered up. My next step for this particular bike is to take this dust cover, and it's sitting too high, but there's plenty of lip there for me to grind down. I'll pretty much eliminate most of that lip right there, and it'll take a little time, and it should slide back over there and sit back in its original position to make room for the brake assembly. Alright, the dust cover is made. It has been narrowed down. It is now perfect fit. Beautiful. That leaves plenty of room for the brake assembly to go right over top to do its job.